Welcome back to another Warhammer 40k video brought to you by One Mind Syndicate. I am your host Gershwan, and I'm here with my two co-hosts,
The Sound Alchemist
and Docile Creature.
And today we're going to be talking about cheating in Warhammer 40k. The tabletop, obviously. You can't really cheat in anything else.
Oh, you can.
You can hack Space Marine.
Yeah, I guess that's
Infinite
true.
Lives.
Yeah, but when it comes to the tabletop, we see cheating a lot within a small play group that we have.
Maybe I don't see it.
This is where I reveal all my secrets of how I cheat, guys.
A lot. Wow.
On a basic level, cheating happens a lot because the rules are so vague, I feel.
Do you mean like unintentional cheating or like?
There's both. So I think that I guess we should break it down like that. There's unintentional cheating and then there's intentional cheating. Unintentional cheating happens where rules as written as opposed to rules as intended get blurry.
And we see this happen between editions, between FAQs, when codices come out. Because the thing about 40k is the rules don't all come out at once. Usually they come out sparingly to increase the longevity of editions. And even between that, we have FAQs and we have other supplements that also add rules, take away rules. So the rules are all over the place, and oftentimes there's just too much to remember, too much to keep track of, and I think that is what often leads to unintentional cheating.
It also doesn't help that like GW will print a codex. You'll go out to the game store, spend your hard-earned money on it, and then a week later, there's an update, and your codex is no longer rules updated.
Yeah, that happened to me with the Adeptus Custodes. Not even a day later, like 2 days after it came out, they said, oh, we messed up on some point values in the book. Your book is null and void.
Let's say like you do get that codex that gets FAQ'd. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you want to play the non-FAQ'd just to see how the rules were written? And is that cheating? Or is that just you not playing by the rules anymore?
Well, here's the thing. Anybody could go out there and buy the codex and just play the game and never know the points are off. Because the points, or the FAQs and everything like that is all through online. Yeah. If you're never up to date on like Warhammer community or you never check forums, who are you to know?
Yeah.
So I have this story way back in the day when we used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! One of my brother's friends had a Lord of Dragons, and it was printed differently than the newer versions. The newer version put some sort of restriction on it. But he played all the old versions, and he was like, no, see, it says it on the card, it does this. Yeah. And my brother's like, no, all the new ones say this. Like, no, but this one says this.
Yeah.
So he played it like that. It's the same kind of thing. If you're not aware of these erratas and changes, then you might not even know that the rules have changed because you're not looking up this stuff online.
Yeah.
So then is he just playing wrong, or is he cheating?
Well, in that situation, it would be cheating because he knows. He probably knows that this is happening. And that's another way that GW players or Warhammer 40k players cheat is they'll bring a codex into the game knowing that those are rules, but it's FAQ'd. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to take the time to learn Tau. I'm not going to take the time to learn Drukhari. So if both of you guys come up and say, no, look at my codex, this is what it says, but there's an FAQ about it.
Yeah, you're not going to scour through all the FAQs.
Yeah, and that's like, okay, cool, let's keep playing. Right. And then you kill me.
A lot of times you can overlook it. Like usually it's not game changing where it's like, oh, all my attacks hit on 2s. No, it's usually like something minor than that. But even then you could like house rule it, or if you're in a tournament, you can always call the judge.
Mm-hmm. So in a game like 40k where the rules are very
sporadic
and convoluted, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of rules and there's a lot of changes to the rules at all times.
That, like, what would you call that? What would you guys consider that? Like, what type of cheating is that? Where, like, you can hide behind the web of rules.
If it's intentional, then, I mean, yeah, that's just straight up cheating. But if it's unintentional, which I feel like is the majority of what happens, it's not cheating, it's just incompetence. Or, like, just not incompetence, but, like, just, like, not...
Or maybe not even incompetence in the player, but incompetence in the game of being like, come on, are you really going to, like, FAQ after a week?
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think that's something that GW needs to learn in the future, because look at the Voltan. Brand new army, people waiting years to play them, people buying them, pre-ordering them. You go to tournaments, they're mopping the floor with everything, and it turns out, oh, they're banned, because they're too powerful.
Yeah, tournament organization.
So now an entire... paycheck, time, effort, everything you did to make this army playable is just being thrown out the door.
Yeah, because another non-intentional form of cheating I've noticed within like our play group is the way you roll your dice. And this is going to be a touchy subject.
Really?
But like if you're holding your dice and then you drop your dice, there's a sense of like you need to let them roll so that they can do their thing instead of just tossing them and letting them fall. Something that I've noticed and I picked up on that I don't think is intentional. It's just the way the person rolls the dice. Mm-hmm. But to other people, it's like, well, that's not like, that feels like cheating, but it's not.
That's the question. Is it actually cheating, or does it just feel like they're not rolling correctly?
Because in my mind, when I see that, it's like, so you have what's underneath the 6? Probably a 1, right? 1. So you have the 1 on top, and then you let it roll off your finger. It rolls. It could roll to something else, but most of the time, it's a block, and you can time it.
That. Like, what's the chance that it's going to roll off your hand and it's going to stay completely...
And that's what I mean. I think that is unintentional cheating by the player to just be like, well, no, that's how I roll my dice. Like, fuck off. But there's, like, senses of, like, no, that you're not rolling it like you're supposed to. Roll a dice like you're supposed to. Mm-hmm. Throw it.
The thing is, like, I know I don't want to throw my dice because I feel like they're going to go all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't want them to hit models. I don't want them to bounce and go underneath things. When I roll my dice, I want to make sure they're close to me and concise, so where I could easily pick off things. I don't want to be reaching over the battlefield.
Should we get dice trays?
We could.
Yeah. Magnetic dice?
No,
I've heard people do that. So that way the magnetic tray and the dice, so that when you roll them, they just hit automatically. Whatever side.
That would feel cheaty to me.
Is it?
Even if it's completely like, I feel like that's a situation where you could go like just tip your hand and it would.
Well, yeah, obviously you wouldn't do that. You'd have to like shake them and then throw them.
I don't think it's even required to have magnetic dice and magnetic sheet. If you roll on it, unless you're like really throwing them, like it's not gonna spray out everywhere.
But it's that sense of like feeling like your opponent is like you're doing something different,
trying to get a little edge, where you can,
and it's unintentional. Mm-hmm.
For the longest time, one of our playgroup buddies, he plays these orange dice, and I feel like they're always rolling hot.
Not against me. They rolled terrible last time we played.
But like for the longest time, it's like, well, I'm going to roll them for my reanimations and like 90% hit every single time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the odds, right?
Right. But then that brings us over to the intentional cheating. What if somebody comes in with loaded dice?
I feel like if you're seeing something come up too often, and like he's picking specifically, let me use these dice, let me use these dice, then maybe you can be like, oh, well, can I use your dice too?
Yeah.
Or, see if he's very like defensive about it.
Yeah, that's true. We do exchange dice normally when we play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, just use whatever's closest, really.
Yeah, we tend to use everybody's like ruler, everybody's tool.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, my ruler's broken, well, I need 8 inches right now.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though like my 6 inches apparently is smaller than most of other people's 6 inches.
Your ruler's off.
Yeah.
I mean, not ruler.
I swear it's 6 inches. So yes, using equipment to cheat is a thing. Mm-hmm. I've never heard of, but now that I'm thinking about it, like ways that I could cheat, to take a tape measure and just like instead of doing 16, what would it be? 16 centimeters to an inch.
Sure, nerd.
Oh, so now you're playing with metric instead of...
Well, no. So, like, instead of the 16 lines in between an inch to, like, do 20, you guys would not know. You guys would just see the big numbers of, like, yeah.
What do you mean, like, get a special ruler that's
yeah.
So that's the same thing as loaded dice.
Yes,
well, I mean,
exactly.
You might, the thing is, like, how often do we watch and, like, precisely make sure our opponents are measuring correctly?
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like 9 times out of 10, whenever we move or make stuff like that, it's not exactly.
You're either like a little bit more or a little bit less. Like it's not, because like we played X-Wing a few times, and that's a game where like people take very precise movements very seriously.
Yeah.
And it surprises me that none of that is translated over to 40K, because like positioning of your models is really important to 40K when it comes to like ranges and stuff like that. I'm surprised that it's not. It's just kind of like this very lax, like I moved it 6 inches. That's his movement. And he really moved it like 6 1/4, and like nobody cares. Like it's like if you're in a tournament maybe, but like for the most part it's like whatever.
So if that's the case, why not have like grids where you can easily tell exactly how much an inch should be?
I just don't think it's like something that we care about as 40K players.
Yeah,
like,
I think the actual terrain and the realism of the board you're playing on trumps having like grids.
and you have more trust, I guess.
Even though in this edition, 10th edition, I've noticed that that's a bigger thing because of charge rolls, especially when you're deep striking. It seems like most armies nowadays want a deep strike. So, like, I understand that I'm like 9 inches away. I'm supposed to deep strike 9 inches away, but then I have my opponent still saying, like, it's not 9 inches. It's like, yeah, but if I roll to charge you, it's going to be 9 inches. So, like, or 8 inches because that 1 inch thing. I've noticed that from all of the players within our play group to say, like, are you within range? Because at the same time, a lot of ranged weapons now are being, like, especially with indirect fire, like, am I in range kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that helps with that is you can pre-measure.
Well, yeah. Yep.
Some editions you couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to be that guy, I feel. Like, if you're like, oh, wait, hold on, you're actually an inch away, like, just we're playing to have fun. We're not here to, like, nitpick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless all your massive mob of orcs won't fit. And then get your fucking asses out of here.
30 boys in a truck.
Yeah, and they're trying to fit in a tiny corner of the map. Oh, I'm 9 inches away. It's like, no, you're not. 9 inches away. Half your guys aren't on the board. Get out of here.
Yeah, I guess that's another way of intentional cheating, like just making shit up. Of saying, like, 30 boys or 24 boys fit in a truck.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is.
I'm never going to question. I'm never going to read up on orc rules.
Yeah. But I feel like that's also in character of the orcs.
To cheat?
I feel like they would cheat and do
Doesn't
everything.
make it right.
No.
Might makes right.
In my defense, because that happened to me, I said 24 boys fit in a battle wagon. It wasn't a truck.
It was a truck.
It was a battle wagon, and it was a player who was like, he checked me, and he was like, is that true? I looked it up, and I was like, oh, yeah, no, it's not. Oh, wait, now I'm trying to think. Was it a battle wagon or a truck? It was a truck.
You didn't use battle wagons that much. It was always trucks.
In the past, I did. Did I? No.
I don't think I've ever seen you use a battle wagon.
See, but that was unintentional cheating, because even now I think back and I'm like, what did I do?
Yeah. Another thing I've noticed, like, playing with you guys, like, from when I first started playing, I learned a lot of the rules for 8th edition, I think was when I came in.
Yeah.
And I started playing with you guys, and as we were playing, I had, like, the rules in my head, and you were saying other rules, and I was like, that's not a rule. And it's because you guys have played so many editions that it's like, you kind of autopilot some of the rules.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, no, that changed. And you're like, wait, really? Huh? Seriously? And I'm like, yeah, it's just like not part of this edition at all.
Yeah, that's really interesting because like we've been playing since 5th edition, and like the new 8th edition player is our answers guy.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think so. There is another element of like, there's a carefree aspect of playing the game for the older players, where the new players, it's like, no, this is a game. Like, we need to play by the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the old players are just like, I'm here to watch things explode and have fun.
No, I don't think that's a new player thing. I think that's a me thing. I like to play by the rules.
Okay.
Otherwise, why are we playing the game if we're just going to go pew, 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 pew?
So you're saying in 2 years you're still going to be what you are now?
Oh, yeah. I've been this way for a long time.
So when do you think you just find a new play group, you think?
I have a new play group guy. I'm going to break it to you guys. Like, I'm not going to come around anymore.
Because we cheat.
They all know the rules. They don't try to cram 24 boys in their trucks. It's fantastic.
The battle wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are some
They roll
more?
like this.
Yeah. What are some more intentional cheating?
I feel like right now you could cheat and get away with it because everything's so new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like the codices just dropped, and I feel like they're gonna be good. Like obviously, whoever codex comes out first, they're gonna have the upper hand in battles. And I feel like knowing that you're the underdog in a lot of these games, I feel like cheating is gonna become more, not rampant, but like kind of used to kind of give you that edge. Like if you're playing a game of 40K and you're losing, do you feel like you need to cheat to kind of get you back in the game?
No.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, say you're playing World Eaters. Obviously, you need to run up the board and charge as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And I'm playing like Tau, and I've got a gun line set up at the very edge of the board, and we're playing long ways. Like, you're gonna have like 2 or 3 turns of just getting shot up before you can even get close to
That
me.
was literally, like, when I first started playing the game, that was my whole gaming experience. My brother picked Tau. I had Necrons. We played on a pool table long ways. and I lost every game, and I was just like, this game sucks. Because he'd just sit back with his railgun and just pew, pew, pew.
And never once you thought, let me even the playing field here.
Well, I was so young, I didn't even know the rules. Like, I was just like, these skeleton guys look cool, and my brother was like, if you use your monolith like this, you would be much more effective in combat. I'm just like, nerd.
So you feel that your brother was cheating then because he was forcing you to play long ways?
I guess this is another form of, well, yeah, I guess it could be. I don't think he was cheating. We were both really young, so maybe he was. But he also knew the rules, like, a lot more better than I did, so I don't know.
So yeah, because what's the difference between experienced player taking advantage of the noobness of you? Is that considered cheating, or is that just like taking the advantage?
It's just scummy, I guess. I wouldn't necessarily say it's cheating if you're not actually cheating, but giving yourself advantages before the game, I guess, is kind of cheaty.
Yeah.
But you could very well, like, if we were drawing from a deck and it was long ways, like, that's still going to give them an advantage. It's not necessarily cheating just because they played long ways.
Yeah, so that brings me to another thing between being scummy and not. How do you feel about somebody who actively tells you, can I do this? Like, I've had, like let's say we're playing a 1,000 point game, and I'm like, oh, I went over by 50 points. Technically, that's cheating, right?
Well,
but what if they tell you, hey, I'm over 50 points?
Yeah, if you ask and they agree with it, then it's not cheating.
So as long as you ask, it's okay to cheat?
Well, I mean, if they say no, you can't just be like, okay, and then just not change your list at all, and yeah, that's cheating. But if, like, you come to an agreement, like, if I'm playing Eldari right now, and you're playing Tau, and there's obviously a power discourage there, so if you're like, oh, I'm going to bring an extra 500 points, is that cool? Like, that's, if I say yes, then that's not cheating. Like, that's just a way to balance. That's not underhanded, like, you're going to, oh, these guys hit on twos now because I'm playing Tau and you're playing Eldar, so I need to cheat to get an upper hand or to try to compete.
And it really matters what you're asking of your player. Because if you ask your player, can I proxy this model, which has a bigger base or a smaller base than what the actual model is, I feel like that's more common than saying, can I paint or can I play 100 points over my list?
Mm-hmm.
That's like, whoa, no. Like, what?
And that's weird, too, because, like, base sizes are important, but that's another thing that we usually don't care about. Like, if you guys on a 32 instead of a 40 or vice versa, like, do we really care about that? Like, it makes your charges, your movement a little better or worse, but, like...
Nobody has taken advantage of that, and it's interesting now because the old Space Marine, like the Firstborn Space Marine bases are smaller than Primaris. Mm-hmm. But you could also just fit the Primaris in the old Space Marine bases.
Could you?
You could, yeah. So, like, it changes the distance. But in that situation, I feel that it equals out. So, like, your Primaris are losing out on range, mm-hmm. and then your opponent is losing out on the same thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in those situations, I think it is you have to have a conversation, and then you have to say, hey, is this okay? Because I'm not going to buy new bases. Bases are expensive.
Yeah, I feel like oftentimes when you proxy, you're either going to put yourself at a disadvantage most of the time, because it's like, oh, let me use this better Demon Prince sculpt.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's going to be a bigger target because it's a bigger model,
mm-hmm.
or vice versa.
Yeah.
Because I know in 7th edition, people were like sculpting their Riptides to be like kneeling down instead of standing straight up. Now, is that considered cheating?
If you're doing it for an advantage, I'd say yes.
But let's say it's the entire model the way GW has made it. Obviously, it has opposable limbs. So you could technically have them in that position.
Yeah.
Right. So is that considered cheating?
It's a gray.
Because you're not really changing or proxying anything.
If I'm making my model, and like no one's ever gonna call you out on this for the exact thing that you said. Like you can pose your models however you want. But if I'm making my Riptide and I'm like, he's kind of tall, I think I'm gonna put him on one knee so that he's a little shorter so people don't see him. That's cheating. Or
like, let's say you get like the Primaris Marines. Usually a lot of them are like standing on a rock or something with their knee elevated. What if you remove the rock and you have them like standing straight up?
I think that's pretty negligible.
Yeah, and also I think the new terrain rules for 10th edition really help because you can't shoot through terrain anymore, which is like big. Mm-hmm. You have to think of each terrain piece as just a giant like tower. And I like that.
To be fair, it's been like that for a while, but we tend to play True Line of Sight, which is hard to get out of. But yeah,
It's first edition rules.
yeah.
But I mean, that's like you see it, so you would think it would make sense. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I could see over this rock.
It happened last game with me. Like, my opponent was like, "What do you mean? I see your guy right now. My dude's standing right here." I was like, "No, these terrains, they go all the way up." And he's like, "What?"
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. That's,
And then you kiss and made up.
yeah,
Making out in 40K is important
it is
with
yeah.
your opponents.
especially when there's like weird rulings like that and there's little tensions. And I just gotta go put the dice down, let the models cool off while you heat up.
Because we can't talk about cheating without etiquette within the tabletop of, like, let's say your opponent is cheating. How do you deal with it? Are you warm and are you saying, like, hey, man, you probably don't know how to play the game?
Hey, man.
The 24 boys are not supposed to be in that truck? Or do you say, fuck this, like, this game is over. You probably have been cheating since the beginning.
Yeah, that's when you flip the table.
Yeah.
You step on all the hundreds of dollars and hours put into the army, and you make yourself known. Like, hey, you're cheating. Let's take this outside.
Yeah. So how do you deal with cheaters?
I usually just ignore it because I'm non-confrontational, and then if they beat me, then I'm just like, okay, that doesn't really matter. You didn't actually beat me because you cheated.
So that's why you act that way after most of our
Most
games.
games, yeah.
Ah,
Y'all are
okay.
some cheaters.
Yeah, because when we cheat, it's already a win in his book.
Well, it's not that I won; it's that I didn't lose. So
Yeah. Obviously, you just want to, be friendly and cordial about it, especially if you're playing against strangers. Be like, oh, is that in the new FAQ? Or like, oh, can you see that? Or can you show me that rule in writing or something like that?
Yeah.
Or like, oh, I've never played it this way. Can you tell me why that?
give them the benefit of the doubt,
Yeah.
kind of, and like, because maybe it is unintentional, maybe it's an old rule from an old edition that they just carried over to a new one and it changed.
It's a lot easier to handle cheating when it's a play group that you see all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen cheating out in the wild, like at a GW store where
At
it
a
gets
club.
wild. Yeah, yeah, we're dancing.
What's mom doing here? That's not dad.
And it gets crazy. Remember the story with GW, where we were at a GW store and this girl got really mad because rules as written as opposed to as intended, and she had a meltdown.
Yeah.
It was intense.
It
And
was.
even like the store manager had to come over and say, like, if you do that again, because apparently it had happened before,
Yeah.
like, you need to, like, leave. You cannot do that.
The meltdown or the cheating?
No, the melting down. Which is insane because it's like the meltdown is worse than the person cheating.
Well, yeah, it depends on the meltdown. But if like you're disrupting everybody's peace, then
Yeah.
that's a little more big of a deal than someone hitting on 2s instead of 3s or whatever it was.
When you do go into a GW store, though, the characters that you find are interesting, which could be a topic all on itself. So if you guys are interested in us talking about the interesting characters that we see in GW stores or just in hobby stores in general, we can do a video on that.
You talking about like named characters or actual people?
Actual
I
people
don't bother
are
to
named
learn-
characters.
That is true. Yeah.
I don't bother to learn their names now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just be calm and just like,
Or it's like, hey, stop it.
no,
Get up in their face.
but then you get kicked out. That's the whole point. The
Yeah.
girl almost got kicked out just
But
because she exploded on the
You
dude who's
remember
cheating.
that girl.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I don't remember her name because I don't remember. I don't register those names.
But you remember her.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Do you remember the guy who cheated?
No, I don't.
No, yeah.
Damn.
That's
I
crazy.
rest my case.
Mm-hmm.
You should be a therapist.
I don't think I gave very good advice just
You-
then. But
no, but you examined my mind and
Mm.
you knew something that wasn't there.
found you lacking.
Yeah, there you go. Just kidding. Chaplain. Any other forms of cheating that you guys have seen on the tabletop that we have not discussed?
I don't think this is cheating, but it's just something that people should be aware of, and that is the people around you. Because like if you're playing a game, other people can be very influential and kind of
Yeah.
force the cheating to happen without you knowing it.
That's a potential unintentional cheating.
But that's like backseat gaming, kind
Yeah,
of.
something that we should probably talk about as a group is like, do we want third parties to give their opinions on what players should be doing in a game that's actively going on?
Yeah.
My answer is yes.
You want that to happen?
Yeah, I think it's helpful.
So if you and Sound Alchemists are fighting, I'm like, oh man, you should charge those guys because they're really good. You would want that to happen?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think the reason for that is like I've said multiple times that I don't want to learn your guys' army.
Mhm.
Like that's too
Yeah.
much. But if somebody else did it and they come up to me and say, hey, those fucking, what do you usually do? The
Aggressors.
Aggressors are really good. Get rid of them because they're half his points. If somebody does that for me, then it's like, oh, cool.
But what if it's against you? Oh, get rid of those aberrants because they're half his points.
Then I said, shut up. Then I would step up.
Stop.
It's cheating. So as long as it's to my benefit. No, even then, because I do think we do have that a lot with a specific player who does that. I don't mind it when he says, like, yeah, take care of the aberrants, because the aberrants it's almost like a boost of, like, confidence of, like, hell yeah, try to get rid of the aberrants.
Is it cheating to bring a powerful combo and then post that combo in the group chat to be like, hey guys, look out for this group chat or this super good combo? Is that cheating? Because I definitely did that because, like, hey, that's a really good combo.
That's backseat gaming, and I appreciate it. Because
But it was outside the game. We weren't even playing. It's just like, hey guys, this is what he's doing. We need to stop this.
Yeah. I feel like we talk more about this because then it dives into play group dynamics. Like, what does your play group say about the game, or what does the game say about the play group and how to manipulate and all that kind of stuff? But that's just a topic all on its own.
Yeah, that's just a conversation.
Yeah. Rule 0. Just talk to your play group. See what we like.
Because it's not cheating if you're playing the game as it's
the way that you all want to play.
Yeah. If you guys have any other ways that you've seen people cheat in your game
and got away with it, let me know personally.
Comment down in the comment section below if you have other topics that you guys would like to hear us talk about. Let us know. And thank you guys so much for listening.
Yeah, guys. As always, it's been the Sound Alchemist here with
Gershwan.
Docile Cheater.
And we are out of here.
Oh, if you took my freedom.